everyone. I'm Alika King, and this is my husband, Mario King. Welcome to another episode of Marriage Alive. Today, we are going to be discussing balancing marriage with ministry. Mario is a part of ISCF ministry, that's Interschool Christian Fellowship. And our guests for today are also in ministry. They are Pastor Rian and Alvilene Williams. It should be a very interesting discussion, and we look forward to learning from both of you, and hopefully the audience as well can learn some things as well.
All right, so when I got married to Alika, I was already serving in full-time ministry with ISCF. So I was single, serving in ministry, giving myself fully to the work and that kind of thing. Obviously, that becomes very different when you get married. So I was wondering if you guys could share a little bit about what that transition looked like. Maybe you could help us to have an appreciation. Was it the same for you? Were you in ministry before you got married or after? And then, when those two things came to be real parts of your life, what did that transition look like?
Yeah, we met while we were both studying at the Caribbean Nazarene College. We were both training for ministry. But while we were there, we both had, I was assigned, I was serving in another local church. He had his local church before he was fully assigned. So we both had our, separate ministries, but we did help each other, support each other whenever we had shared assignments or things that we could support. That there was a period of time when Rian served as a youth ambassador for CARICOM, and so I would have supported him on his assignments or wherever, locally, and vice versa. But then I think when we got married, I guess we were able to still work together pretty well. We also had our first child pretty early in our marriage, within the first year. So, but even then, I guess being, new to the ministry, you have a kind of zeal and a passion to get things done. So you work really hard. It was pretty comfortable taking our daughter with us, even though, yes, it was an addition to the family, and being into the, before we were single, but now we're married, you're building a home and all of that. But I think in the 80s, we were pretty much able to continue working pretty intensely for the ministry. However, by the time we had our second daughter, just a few years ago, we had to make some more adjustments, because we realized that the needs of the family also is important, and we needed to strike a balance so that maybe some of the things that you might have been able to go, you had to make adjustments. So maybe one parent had to, take up some other responsibilities while the other could have that opportunity to go and do, So yes, I think when you're single, you have a little more flexibility, and certain things you can take for granted, like not getting enough sleep or eating well. But once you have a family, you have to think about, okay, the children, the activities, what they need to get done, the impact being in many meetings will have on them, etc. So yes, coming into it I would say it was an easy transition, but then pretty soon you realize that there was a difference and there was a need for adjustments.
Yeah. That's good.
It's interesting just listening to you in terms of children, because I think we also had our first child early, and I felt like, so I am not in full-time ministry with him. Right. But I was able those early years to give more time volunteering with him. When, as you say, you have one child, it's a little bit different too, as time goes on. But what I wanted to ask you, before we get to the children part, because I want to hear some more about that. But as I've mentioned, I am not in full-time ministry, but both of you are. So do you get the opportunity to work with the other person? So how I would be able to be flexible sometimes and kind of volunteer with ICF on different projects. Is that something you get to do? Can one of you go and help the other, that kind of a thing? How much do you get to work together? Right. Or is it,
how much do you want to work together?
Yeah. Okay, just to clarify, you're trying to ask how much do we actually work together?
Yeah.
Or if you get to share in any projects together, that
Right.
kind of thing, or is it, I have my ministry and
over
she
here.
has her ministry, kind of a thing?
Well, the truth is we both have our unique responsibilities. Alvilene more oversees the administrative functions of the church in terms of finance, overseeing ministries, etc. I oversee more of the pastoral function as it relates to the teaching, caring for members of the church, the prayer. But although we have unique roles, we serve together. We really serve together. So I would not make a major decision without involving her, without asking her input, without getting some feedback. I bounce off my ideas off of her. I share my what I believe God is saying to me. I share that with her, and very rarely would I do anything major without involving her in the process. So and I believe we work together. I believe there's a oneness, there's a synergy, there's that harmony. We don't always agree, we don't always agree, but there is that collaboration.
Yeah.
And once we agree on a goal or an idea, she is there supporting me 110%.
Nice.
Nice.
She's there, so she takes the idea and she magnifies it, or she helps bring it to reality. So there is that real oneness in terms of us sitting together.
Nice. All right, so I can just go straight to the place Alika wanted to go with the children and stuff like that. So when children come into the midst, that you were mentioning earlier, when you're single, it's easy to throw yourself into the ministry, not really take stock of the energy, the limitations you have in your energy and time and all those kind of things. You just give and give and give. When you get married, and let's say it's in a situation that is as perfect as yours, where you're married to somebody who's serving alongside you, so you're still together. But then children come into the mix, and all of a sudden you realize, okay, this is not just two people who love each other, who love doing this work as well, but now we are family. We have responsibilities that don't actually connect directly to our ministry, right? So I have my family, which is a ministry in and of itself, and I have my responsibility to the church where I'm serving. Which is a higher priority, right? And that's the first part of the question. Which is a higher priority, your family or the ministry areas that God is using you to his glory? And then what does it actually look like to make that particular one a higher priority, right? What choices do you guys have to make? What things do you have to put in place to make sure that this one is a priority over the other? And that is clear for you guys.
Well, for sure, we would say that family is a priority. Does it always get number one? Not all the times, and especially in the earlier times, especially in zeal to throw yourself into ministry. Though your family is very important to you, there may be times when you may have, put a meeting or a particular activity or a program would have, consumed a lot of time. But we have come to a place where it's much clearer that family is the number one. Of course, God is first, and our family and our ministry, everything flows from our relationship, with God. But making it a priority, making our family a priority means, finding time to spend together, time that's dedicated towards the family developing, especially with children, being able to give them time that they need, because, well, not just the routine things like relating to their schooling and their nutrition, but also to their emotional well-being, being able to spend time together as a family. So some of the things that we have done, is to be able to try to be intentional about it, because we recognize that, going about it day to day, you kind of you lose track of it, and you can realize we haven't stopped for a long time, or we haven't done anything as a family. So we made a decision to intentionally go out one Saturday a month and, take a drive. I mean, now with COVID, it's kind of restricted in what we can do, but, at least take that time to dedicate for family time. And we know that by, doing this, we're creating memories that the children will have, so that hopefully they will not grow up thinking, oh, my mom and dad work. But there was times when, we spend time as a family, or we may pull out a board game or something like that, and so it's about trying to be intentional about carving out that time. And for me, like on a daily basis, what I try to do is have boundaries or create margins where, there will be times for weekend, and there will be time that this is dedicated for family, whether it's taking care of the home or preparing meals or, just certain practices like avoiding late calls or too early calls or checking emails all the time. Those are some of the things that, we do and that I personally do, Ryan, to probably see.
Yeah, family is important. Family is really important. And, I believe our first commitment, our loyalty is to God, and then our commitment is to the family He gave us. Remember, God gave us our family, and so He wouldn't give us a family and then pressure us so much to neglect them.
Right.
And so serving God, we serve God by caring for our family. That's part of our relationship with God, but it has to be intentional. I must confess that there were times that I really became so involved in activities, different activities that I didn't give, my family the kind of attention. But as I get older, and I see, I've seen the challenges that can cause. I'm at a place, we're both at a place in our life where we realize that we must make time. It's not even about finding time, it's about making time.
Yeah.
And not just for the children too, I would add, because I realize it's not so the focus is on the children, but even your relationship, because sometimes your relationship could come under, a lot of stress having, and especially as in that we are in it together, sometimes you can feel like you're always if you don't have those boundaries, you're always at work or you're always on ministry, your conversations, everything is revolving around it in the morning and the evening, on the weekends, so that you have to make time to just focus on, yourself a bit.
Must be intentional.
Nice.
Yeah. I feel like that's something that we need to work on. I think, you kind of just go with it and you're feeling okay, but then you need to put those things in place so that when the pressure comes,
right,
you don't just automatically abandon
or wait till there's a crisis.
Try to fix it. Yeah. So I think
that's good advice.
Good idea.
It's so easy. It's really easy to say because I know, like, we talk about the family outings, but I know we've been discussing like even having a date night for like years.
Right.
And that already doesn't happen. But I mean, when you have younger children, it's really hard because you have to get a sitter or something like that. So it even though sometimes you have really good intentions, but you really have, it takes time and you have but you just committed to trying to work towards that goal.
Yeah. And can I just say something? I think we shouldn't give up. The ideal is one night, one date night, and having these structures in place. And I believe that's the ideal.
Yeah.
But sometimes you don't always get it right. Initially, but don't give up trying. Don't give up trying. Still try, and eventually you see it begin to take place. You mightn't get it in the first go, but keep trying. And I believe God will honor, our efforts, and He will help us. Because He wants our families to be together.
Yeah.
He is for us. He's for family life. He's for marriage.
Yeah.
He's for our children serving Him. And so we could always count on Him for that help where our relationships are concerned.
God, but they can tell that their family, their marriage, their relationships are also important, and there is a pressure or a tension trying to find the right balance in those two things, and they feel like they are failing.